Yes. So what we were discussing in the previous class, we have discussed about the mass communication and the various models of communication we have completed yesterday. And we were there like in unit 6. So what is mass medium? Generally, mass communication is nothing but a medium that we use to express ourselves with the large number of audiences, which means a newspaper or a media organization. It can be a broadcast media or it can be a print media organization. That is something which communicates a lot of information regarding the news events which are happening in a day-to-day life throughout the world, etc., to a large number of audiences. So the communication is dispersed for the large number of audiences. The audiences are heterogeneous, anonymous, and also they are uh, scattered throughout the geographical area. Okay, so here in mass communication, the communication is something which is dispersed for the large number of audiences, those who are throughout the geographical area. And here there is something called satellite communication. The satellites were launched for the benefit of the users to obtain information from the large media organizations. And here the mass media organizations use the satellites to communicate or disperse their information by uplinking their programs. And with the help of MSOs or with the help of the DTH, the consumers or the mass media audiences are able to receive the content from the mass media. Here, if you see the present scenario, the most of us are using either the television or the internet as the mediums to consume a lot of content or variety of content of our interests generally. So media, as we have already discussed, media sets an agenda for the public, but what we consume is again depending on the individual interests. And individuals, depending on their interests, they only consume what they want. That we call it as a public agenda. So here the mass media has a lot more to do for the benefit of the public. Here media helps in changing the society, that we have already discussed in the previous class, and it promotes education, and it is bringing the globe into a global village. And that is, as just now I said, it is enabled only because of the satellite communication. And here mass communication also promotes the distribution of goods and services among the members of the social system. As if you see the diffusion of innovations theory, there is something called, and where they will say that any idea or a product or a service that is diffused in the social system using various means of communication channels. So here the mass media also something which is an important channel that is dispersing a lot of information regarding the services, products, and the messages which are maybe propagated by the government or any other officials. Here it persuades the audiences to change their behavior or to adapt a innovation. That is something we perceive it as a new in the social system. So here we use different media platforms. Either it can be a print, it can be a newspaper like books, newspapers, and magazines. Like these are the print mediums, and we can use the radio and television as the mass media channels, and we can also use the cinema to promote a product and service. So that is again adapted by the individuals in the social system over a period of time. So here we get we come to know about all these products and services which are offered by a company, and media is something which is persuading the audiences to buy those products and services. It is mediating between the manufacturer and the consumer. And the same way the government also propagates a lot of information regarding the society, regarding the social welfare schemes which are launched for the benefit of the consumers, or regarding the organization. the government or its functioning, its policies, etc. So here all those information is reaching uh, the audiences with the help of the various means of communication channels. And here the mass media is also one of the channel which used by the government and the private government manufacturers or companies, etc., to propagate the information. So that is the role of the media. Media brings social change. Media also making the world closer. It is forming the whole globe as a global village. And media also promotes the distribution of goods and services among the consumers or among the members of the social system. And you have it under 6.3, scope of media in Indian context. So here, media is not only responsible to play in fostering, which means promoting the democracy, protecting the democracy, and promoting communal harmony. Apart from that, the media also is providing information. It is making it is socializing the individuals in the social system, and it is also providing entertainment for the audiences. It creates awareness regarding the political situations, the governments, etc. And it is also, which unit it is 6, okay. Cultural transmission. It also promotes the culture from a generation to the other, and it is also a promoter of the development in the country. Yes. Chalo, it is unit 6. Sorry, unit 6 we are discussing today. So here, if you see the scope of the media in the present context, media provides information and education. That is the first function. Media provides a lot of information, which is essential in our day-to-day life. So here there is a lot of information, or many events which are happening throughout the globe, and the media is a platform which provides the information relating to all these events for the benefit of the mass media audiences. So here media also not only providing information regarding various issues, but it is also providing education for the audiences. So here if you see, the newspaper also prints special supplements to promote education among the readers. The broadcast media like television or All India Radio or any other radio stations, etc., they also provide educational content for the benefit of the listeners and viewers. If you see the Doordarshan, when it was launched, the site experiment, if you see, from 1975 and 76, it was launched for the promotion of agriculture in the country. It started to promote social education and to reduce the dropout rate in the schools among the children, etc. So that was the motive behind launching the site experiment, which tested the how the satellite communication can be used to promote the social education, agriculture, family planning, and school education, etc. And there was another thing that Delhi School Project was also launched in the year 1961 to provide to test how the television could be used to propagate the school education or to promote social to school education in the country, etc. And there is a channel, if you see, the Gyanvani, that is launched by the Ministry of Human Resource Development in collaboration with the IGNOU. So it is exclusively meant for providing education. And now if you see the TSAT, what we are getting now, TSAT is completely a channel which provides education. So the same way, we have countrywide classroom programs, we have a Krishi Darshan program to promote agriculture in the country. So a lot of content is there which is meant for the purpose of promoting education among the listeners, viewers, and readers. And if you see the Sakshi newspaper or Enadu newspaper, mostly read Telugu newspapers, and Enadu stands among the mostly large number of readers are there for the Enadu. Is published by the Sakshi newspaper, and they also have Disha. There is Diksuchi, Disha, or any other things. They were printing special pages to promote education. So in that way, mass media is something which provides information. Along with that, it also promotes education among the readers, viewers, and the listeners. So there are also special supplements which are printed by the newspapers. Along with that, there are also articles, or there are special pages which are inserted in the newspapers for the benefit of the educated, for the benefit of the students. And then socialization, that is also one of the function of the mass media, where it is socialization means nothing but it is a process where people learn things. So here, because of the media, which is transmitting the values, cultures, and norms from one society to the other, we learn the social norms, and we have because of that we act, react, or behave, speak, dress the same way that we have to do. We might follow the others, but others might be influenced by the mass media also. So here, media also helps us in socializing or changing our behavior in day-to-day life. Then entertainment, as we have already discussed, entertainment function of the media. So media provides a lot of entertainment for the benefit of the mass media audiences. So there are special articles which are what we call the leisurely read articles, like features. They can be leisurely read by the readers, and which provides entertainment for them. And we have special magazines for the benefit of the specialized audiences. We also have different program formats for the benefit of the mass media audiences, which provides entertainment, like games shows, reality shows, music, films, even television commercials, etc. All those will provide entertainment for the audiences. So here, the media provides amusement, relaxation, diversion, and all this is provided by the mass media. And mass media is a platform, we are depending on that to get entertainment. And here, soap opera is also one of the most form important format, which has a lot of influence on the mass media audiences, along with the films, game shows, and reality shows. Comedy shows also. Jabardast is one of the example. If you see, it is getting more TRP ratings when you compare for the other programs. Like and even the fashion, it depends on the individuals. And news is also provides entertainment, those who are interested in news or sports even. And the other way, if you see the negative impact also, media also has its negative impact. Like we go away from doing our own works, and it also affects our health. It also wastes our time. Like if we spend more and more time in just watching a television, we may not be able to do the other works which are so important in our life. And sometimes we use the mass media for the withdrawal purpose also. We use the mass media for environment, etc. So which also provides different viewpoints regarding the political situation in our country, or during the elections. It provides information regarding the candidates who are contesting in the elections and what they have done. But most of the time it can be, we can also see that it can be propagated information, it can be information that is misleading also, because various media channels are also used for the purpose of propaganda. Here mass media is also one of the tool which the individuals, government, or political parties, political leaders may use this as a platform to serve their own interests. So the other way, yes, media is also acting as a watchdog. It is looking after the political parties, and it is creating awareness about among the members of the social system regarding the political parties and how they are functioning, the amounts which are spent by the government, etc., what kind of policies which are being launched by the particular governments, etc. So that is something which creates openness among the members of the social system regarding the political parties are the government. And media also formulates public opinion. Generally public opinion is nothing but opinion of the general audience on a particular issue. So there are many more things which are happening in our day-to-day life. So here media maybe formulates public opinion regarding the political party, the political parties or candidates, or it is maybe regarding the functioning of the organizations or government or private individuals, etc. And it also some way or the other, media also affects the public opinion. Media, by prioritizing the news or placements of the news in a newspaper or in a broadcast media, in the news bulletin, etc., it also sets an agenda. And the individuals as the mass media consumers, we also said, adapt the order of priority which is set by the media. And somewhere or the other, it is also affects the public opinion regarding the various issues, or regarding the individuals, companies, organizations, or even government. And here media is also considered as the fourth estate, like the other three estates we have: legislature, judiciary, and administrative. So apart from that, media is considered as the fourth estate. It is considered as a watchdog of the society. It is looking after, it is looking at the other three pillars of democracy, how they're functioning, etc. And cultural transmission is also one of the function of the mass media. So here it is a bridge between the mass media and mass media is a bridge between the past and present. So here the present, the past values, cultures, norms, uh, etc., are transmitted from a generation to the other generation with the help of the mass media. So here media also promotes the diverse cultures of a nation, and it also promotes the heritage of the country. As if you see the India, we have a DD Bharati that is exclusively launched by the Doordarshan network to promote the India's heritage and culture. So the same way, a lot of content is being provided with the help of the mass media to promote the diverse culture of India and its heritage among the members of the audience. So that is the those are the functions of the mass media. So mass media is responsible also for promoting the democracy, and it is also promoting communal harmony. And you also have, if you have the media law and ethics subject there, they will give you how media promotes communal harmony, what is communal violence, etc., what is the role of media in promoting human rights among the members of social system. That is also there. But in unit in this paper one, you don't have that. Then if you see, if we move on to the 6.4, that is their classification of media based on the physical form, how you are able to receive, in what form you are able to receive the content, and based on the technology involved in the production process of the media, etc. Media is classified into three types. The first one is what you have is print media, the second is electronic media, and the third one is new media. So print media is considered as the printed form of mass media channel of communication that includes the newspapers, books, and magazines, or any other periodicals. And newspapers, again, depending on the periodicity, if you see, we have daily newspapers, we also have weeklies, we also might have fortnightlies and monthlies also. So depending on that, and depending on the size also, we have that broadsheet newspaper, tabloid, etc. And depending on when it is going to be printed, etc., we have a general newspaper, and we also have evening newspapers that those are brought out in the evening, and otherwise we can get uh, in the morning. And here, as individuals, we have a curiosity to know something what is happening, and that curiosity is satisfied by the media. So here, the news, views, advertisements, and everything that is being provided by the with the help of the print media and also the broadcast media. So newspaper is also a mass media because it is reaching a large number of audiences, those who are within the accessible area of a particular newspaper. And depending on the reach, we can have all those are with those who are there within the geographical area where the newspaper is reaching, all of them will be called as the readers of a particular newspaper. And here, the newspapers, with the advent of the technology which is available at present, we have e-newspapers. We also uh, the e-newspapers or online newspapers. The physical copy is uploaded in the form of, which will be having in the form of e-newspaper, and anyone can access the newspaper throughout the globe. Earlier, it has to reach physically to the reader to read a newspaper. But nowadays, with the advent of the internet, which is available in the form of the online newspaper or e-newspapers, and there are some of the newspapers which are exclusively uh, published in online. Those are called completely the online newspapers, online journals like that. Okay, online magazines. Then, as the newspaper also contains the news articles, editorials, columns, cartoons, graphics, then photographs. So, photographs will enable us to know a story without reading the content of a story, and you might be there. You might be. We might teach you that how a picture is being going to be taken in broadcast media. There will be some rule of thirds or etc. How a picture has to be composed. There are many things. How you have to give a caption. How what kind of moment you have to capture if you are using that particular photograph along with the news story, etc. And here, the news will be considered as anything which has happened throughout the globe. So anything, any event that can be called as the news. Again, the news based on whether it is we can publish as soon as possible, or we can wait for publishing, etc. Based on that timeliness, we have hard news and soft news. Soft news we can print in a maybe after a day or so, because it can be leisurely read articles. And hard news is something which is most important news of the day, like crime, politics, business, etc. And which will have timeliness, the value of timeliness. Unless we print that news, it will not have value for the next day. So like that, we also have feature articles. Feature articles are uh, leisurely read articles by the readers. And we also have news articles which will provide you a comprehensive information regarding a particular story which is being dealt in the newspaper. And we also have editorials. Editorials are generally written by the editors of the particular newspapers. Each newspaper will have its own editors. Then we have columns. columns are recurring pieces of information that is been printed in a newspaper. A column is written by a subject experts, and specific columns are printed on specific days, and the subject expert will give different viewpoints about a particular story he is dealing with. And cartoons to criticize the current situation, etc., or to add some kind of humor, etc. The cartoons are used, and graphics, which enables the reader to understand a particular thing in a more easy way, along with reading the particular news story. And photographs generally accompanied along with the news. It will also have value to the news, and it will create some kind of trustworthiness of a particular story which is printed in a newspaper. And to break the monotony in a newspaper, like if we see all the text in a particular newspaper, it is not so appealing for the eyes. But if we have some photographs, colorful photographs, etc., that also will provide some kind of amusement, a kind of relaxation when you read the news story. And the context of news is understood when you look at a picture which is printed in a page. Then we have the most important advantage of the print media is we can read the newspaper whenever we want if we have a physical copy, and the copies can be preserved. But if it is a broadcast media, the information we can consume at the point of time, and there is a possibility we forget the information which we have consumed from the broadcast media like TV or radio. But the newspaper copy can be preserved, or the magazine can be preserved for our lifetime, and we can read whenever we want. The same way with the books. And the disadvantage of a newspaper is only the literates can read a newspaper. uh, the language ability is most of the important thing for the reader. If they are not able to understand the language also, it becomes as a problem, and only the literates can read a newspaper, and that is the only disadvantage. And the blind people, like the character of a human being, they can't read, but they can access to the radio, even though they are not able to see the visuals, but they can hear the voice, or if it is a radio they can hear. Okay. If you see the first newspaper which is printed in our country, that is Bengal Gazette, that was published on January 29, 1780. That was the first newspaper which is printed by James Augustus Hickey in India. And in Kerala, there is another newspaper called Raja something is there. I don't know. It is not visible. Okay. Uh, then we have, if you move on to the newspaper, after newspaper, that magazines, what we have. Magazines, magazine, the word magazine is derived from a French word. Then if you see the Spectator, which was published by Joseph Addison in England in the year 1711, was considered as a full-fledged magazine which is published in English. That is considered as the first magazine of English. And if you see what magazines provide, if you see the newspaper provides, it will have columns, editorials, news articles, news, feature articles. We can have photographs, cartoons, and other more information. And what kind of content we get in magazines? So in magazines, we also have current affairs, even though current affairs can be carried in the broadcast in newspaper also. And we also have business information, women information relates to children, finance, photography, science and technology, education, career, health, luxury, lifestyle, beauty, fashion, environment, etc. Travel even. So here, magazines, the general interest magazines can have all this information, But when it comes to the specialized magazines will provide a specific kind of information for the target group. Those are the specific or specialized audiences, what we call. They consume the specialized content which is provided by a magazine. So like news magazines will have the news articles, news analysis kind of information which they provide with the help of a magazine. And like if you see the Outlook, Times of India, what we have, Times magazine, etc. Those are the Outlook. Those are generally general interest magazines, which means an individual can consume that content and they can read the magazine. But when it comes to the sports magazines, exclusively they provide sports content relating to the sports, different kinds of sports, different kinds of matches, or different kinds of uh, what we have, the celebrities relates to the sports, etc. Those who play different games, etc. And the related information is provided in the sports magazine. And the religious magazines, they will provide religious content, how to preach or how to do a prayer, etc., or how why they have to practice a kind of religion, a particular religion, etc. That kind of information they will provide. So these religious magazines, generally if you see like India, we have a democratic and secular country. All the religions are equally respected and equally they can practice, and we have a freedom of religion also as a fundamental right, and we can actually practice a religion, preach a religion, go to a worship of place, etc., of our own choice. And here the religious magazines will propagate their own religious content, but it again depends on the individual, those who are going to consume the content from the religious magazines. And film magazines, it is relating to the film personalities, or the films, regarding the movies or movie reviews, etc., or the cast or interviews with the celebrities, hero, heroine, etc., or the directors, producers, etc. All that information will provide in a film magazine. And general interest magazine is provides content for the general audiences. All kind of information they carry in the general interest magazines. And even though the magazines also will have a periodicity, depending on their periodicity, their magazines will be published. They can publish on a weekly basis, or it can be a fortnightly, or it can be a monthly also. And we also have exclusively some of the magazines like what we have, Vidura, Yojana, then Down to Earth. And we also have some of them are lifestyle magazines also we have. And we have children's magazines, women's magazines, etc., business magazines. All these are specialized magazines which provide content which to target the specialized audiences or the readers. That is regarding the magazines. And books, the spiritual compendium of the Christian life, that was published in the year 1561. That was considered as the first book which is published, and the first one in Malayalam, Sankshepa Vedartham, that was printed in 1772. That is considered as the first Malayalam book which is printed in India. And when it comes to the electronic media, that the print medium is over. Print media consists of the newspapers, magazines, and books. Print medium again depends on the periodicity, depending on whether it is a broadsheet or tablet, whether when it is going to be brought out, evening newspaper or a morning one, depending on the content. Again, we have financial newspapers, business newspapers, or we also have the general newspapers also. Then we have books, we have also the magazines. When it comes to the electronic media includes the films, the radio, and also the television. And films, when it comes to the films, Lumiere brothers, they succeeded in transmitting moving pictures in the year 1895. They are considered as the first one to transmit the moving picture. Earlier it was not there. Earlier we used to have only the photographs, but moving pictures they succeeded in transmitting. And workers leaving the Lumiere factory that was screened in Eden Theatre in France for the first time by the Lumiere brothers. And they considered their invention as the cinematography, and based on that, the word cinema came to existence. And it was the era of silent movies, which means they were not having the sound. They used to have only the visuals moving on the screen. And the workers leaving the Lumiere factory, that was a 1.5 minute movie that is available in YouTube. If you want, you can also watch that 1.5 minute film. And Raja Harishchandra was the first feature film which is made in India, which was directed by Dundiraj Govind Palke. He is mostly known as Dada Saheb Palke, and we also have Dada Saheb Palke Award, which has been given to the directors. And Raja Harishchandra was the first film which is made by Dada Saheb Palke in the year 1913. It is the Raja Harishchandra is a story of the king Raja Harishchandra. And Vigata Kumaran is the Lost Child, directed by J.C. Daniel, is the first film in Malayalam which is made on the Indian soil. And when it comes to the radio in India, the radio broadcasting was began in 1923, when the Radio Club of Bombay was first transmitted the program. And later on, in the year 1927, July 23rd, with an agreement, all these private broadcaster including the Bombay Radio Club, Madras Radio Club, and Calcutta Radio Club, they joined together and formed as a IBC. These were the amateur radio clubs. They used to transmit the programs for the audience, listeners of a limited geographical area. And later on, the IBC, uh, due to the financial difficulties, they went into liquidation. And in the year 1930, the government, the British government, took over the radio broadcasting facilities, and they renamed it as the Indian State Broadcasting Service. Even the British government, due to difficulties, financial crisis, they wanted to close down. But later on, it took over the radio broadcasting facilities on a permanent basis. And British governments used the radio broadcasting, the radio, to serve their own interests. And they used to provide information that is what we call as a propaganda information, which used to serve their own interests only. And later on, in the year 1935, Lionel Fielden, he was working for the BBC, who became the first controller of the radio broadcasting in India. And after that, in the year 1936, the All India ISBS name for the radio broadcasting service was renamed as All India Radio, and the name All India Radio was coined by that is adapted to the radio broadcasting service from 1936 onwards. Later on, in the year 1956, All India Radio's on-air service, for the on-air service, Akashvani name was adopted. And Akashvani, that was a Sanskrit word which means celestial voice, or celestial announcements, etc. That the Akashvani name was coined by M.V. Gopalaswamy. That was adopted to the on-air service of the All India Radio from 1956 onwards. And in the year 1942, etc., there was a Congress radio that was launched by Vital Das Khakar and his associates during the Quit India movement. And later on, that was the British government came to know about the radio station, and they confiscated the equipment, the radio's transmission equipment, and transmitters, etc., and they were sent to jail, etc. Then during the 1939, it was to uh, counter the Nazis' propaganda, which used to be transmitted through the radio networks. The All India Radio started its external service division to provide news for the benefit of the listeners in this country. And Yuvavani was is also launched from 1967 to serve the specific needs of the youth. Like that, even Gyanvani, which was launched by the All India Radio Network to promote education in the country. The Gyanvani was launched by the All India Radio Network in collaboration with the IGNU, Indira Gandhi National Open University, to transmit educational content for the listeners. And when it comes to the television, we have completed the film, then All India Radio, and we have the television broadcasting. So here, the television in India from September 15th, 1959, the television was introduced in our country. So earlier in industrial fair that was held in India in the year 1955, at that time, the Philips company which did the demo of the television in our country, and at that time the government was thought that it might alienate the people from their cultures, etc. And it was the India was also feared that the television is at that time considered as a luxury thing, and whether the individuals in our country will afford to have a television set or not. But finally, in the year 1959, they decided to launch the network or the television station in our country. And on September 15th, 1959, the Doordarshan was inaugurated by the then President of India. And till that, from 1959 onwards, the Doordarshan is consider it is providing information, education, and entertainment for the audience. And earlier, the private before the private cable TV entered into the Indian soil, the Doordarshan was the only broadcaster of television service in our country. And the satellite communication. After 1959, there was a Delhi school project which was launched by the Doordarshan network to uh, promote education among the students. Later on, the site experiment was satellite television experiment was launched to test how the satellite communication can be used by the Doordarshan network uh, to promote agriculture, family planning, social education, and school education, etc., among the audience. So later on, there was another project called Keda Communication Project. Uh, Keda Communication Project was also launched by the Doordarshan network to use the television, the satellite communication for the purpose of social education to promote development in the country. Later on, if you see, the television, the color transmission of television broadcasts were launched from 1982 onwards. In the year 1982, the Independence Day speech of Srimati Indira Gandhi, which was covered in live. After that, the Asian Games, which were held in India, that was also covered in live and color. So the Asian Games were covered in live, which means the live transmission also started from 1982 onwards. Then we have when it comes to the regional broadcasting service, the television broadcasting service, which was launched by Thiruvananthapuram, that was the first regional channel which was launched in the country. Then we have new media. New media is nothing but which is kind of synonym for the ICT technology, information and communication technologies. So here, with the invention of the internet and the World Wide Web, Tim Berners Tim Berners-Lee is the one who invented the World Wide Web, and the new media, the internet and World Wide Web, which enabled us to communicate digitally with the other individuals. So digital means of communication has been facilitated by the internet and World Wide Web. It is a powerful medium which is utilized by the different consumers throughout the globe at this point of time. And this was the World Wide Web emerged as a powerful mass media tool from 1990 onwards. And here internet, we have the browsers where we can browse, like Mozilla Firefox and Google Chrome. We use these browsers to search for the information on the internet. These are the browsers. Then here we are using this internet for the purpose of, or for the means of communication with the other individuals, and we use social networking sites, or we use internet television internet protocol television, and internet radio is available. And if you see, the Doordarshan network is also Vivid Bharati, and some of the services of All India Radio is are available on internet also. And here blogging, where you can share your thoughts on a paper. You can log into a blogger and register there, and you can have your own blog. You can write, you can disseminate information, whatever you want. And here we also have ebooks, the books which are in the form of which are there on the internet. And we also have use the email to disseminate information, or to communicate with the other individuals. We also use other platforms uh, to disseminate that information, like we also have e-journals, e-newspapers, e-books. All that is something which are enabled by the internet and World Wide Web. So here social networking is something where we also build relations. We can connect relationship with the other individuals. We can connect with the individuals throughout the globe with the help of these social networking sites. And here we can create a profile, and we can share some of the personal information if we want, and we can connect with the other individuals. And Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. Some of the platforms where we can connect with the others. These are the so new media is nothing but uh, which is enabled internet and World Wide Web enabled platforms which are used to communicate information with the other individuals. So that is about the new media. And if you see the present scenario of the media in our country, like we also have the public broadcasting system. What is a public broadcaster in our country? The Prasar Bharati. So Prasar Bharati is a public broadcasting organization in our country which owns the All India Radio Network and the Doordarshan Network. Again, All India Radio is controlled by the Director General of All India Radio, and we also have the Director General of Doordarshan. These are the two persons who are responsible for transmitting the information through their networks. And from there are different committees which are being appointed by the government, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, till the Prasar Bharati organization came into existence from 1997 September 15th onwards. So earlier, the Doordarshan and All India Radio were the media units under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. And only when the Prasar Bharati organization came into existence, both the All India Radio and Doordarshan were transferred from the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to the Prasar Bharati organization. And now both All India Radio and Doordarshan are functioning under the Prasar Bharati organization. And here, if you see the mass media scenario in India, like mass media, we have already discussed, it consists of different mediums, whatever we consider as the mass media platforms. Television, radio, cinema, newspapers, magazines, and internet websites and portals, all of them can disseminate information for the large number of audiences. Because of that, all these are called as the mass media platforms or mass media channels. As of March 31st, 2018, we were having more than 1 lakh publications which are registered under the registrar of newspaper for India, and there are more than 240 million copies were in circulation. And India also have more than 1,1600 satellite channels. Okay. Then we have, as of March 31st, 2018, print media, the status, more than 1 lakh publications are registered under the Registrar of Newspapers for India. The Registrar of Newspapers for India is an agency that provides license to the print media organization. So they have to register under the Registrar of Newspaper for India to publish a newspaper. And here, according to the readership, when it comes to the readership, IRS, Indian Readership Survey, that is conducted in India to see the readership of different newspapers in our country. Dainik Jagran is the largest read newspaper in the country among all the newspapers. And Dainik Bhaskar is the second largest read newspaper in our country, followed by Hindustan Times, Amar Ujala, Malayalam Manorama. There are some other newspapers, and Times of India stands first among the newspapers which are read in our country in a English language. And in Andhra Pradesh and even in Telangana, the largest trade newspapers are is Enadu, and after that Sakshi and Andhra Jyoti in Andhra Pradesh, and when it comes to the Telangana, after the Enadu newspaper, it is Sakshi, Andhra Jyoti, and Namaste Telangana are the largest read newspapers. Uh, Magazines, when it comes to the readership of magazines, India Today is considered as the largest read magazine in our country, followed by India Today. If you want, you can search. Hmm, what happened? Okay, if you want, you can just search for this information under Audit Bureau of Circulation and the Register of Newspapers for India. And you can also read IRS, Indian Readership Survey figures, which will be available in internet, or else in the next class we'll discuss that. Then we also have the history of print media. What? How much time we have? Okay, quickly I will run through this. Okay, the history of print media, as we have already discussed, the Bengal Gazette is the first newspaper which is published in our country in the year 1780 by James Augustus Hickey. And other newspapers, the India Gazette, the Calcutta Gazette, Madras Courier. All this information you have in your books. Textbooks will be, the information will be there in your textbooks. Okay, the Madras Courier launched in 1785 and Bombay Herald 1789. The Bombay Samachar founded in the year 1822, and in the year 1826, Udant Marthand, the Rising Sun, the first Hindi language newspaper published in our country. Uh, when it comes to the prominent English newspapers, the Times of India. The Times of India was founded in the year 1838. Hindustan Times was founded in 1924.
Ma'am, you are in mute, ma'am.
From now, earlier it was, you are able to hear, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, done. I lost connection. Again, it was reconnected. Okay. As of December 2018, there were 369 private radio stations are there, and All India Radio has about more than 450 FM radio stations, and as of 2020, there were not 2020, there were from as of November 2021, there were 328 community radio stations were operational in our country. Okay. If you see the radio broadcasting, All India Radio Service has uh, owned channels, its own FM channels. We have the FM broadcasting was introduced from 1977 onwards, but the FM came to existence only from 1993 onwards. Earlier, the private owners used to transmit the programs. FM Rainbow was All India Radio's FM Rainbow was launched on February 1st, 1993. This is the first channel which is a FM channel launched by the All India Radio Network. And at present, it has more than 206 FM transmitters across the country and covering 24, almost 23% of the total population. Then FM Gold is there. FM Gold was another FM channel which owned by the All India Radio Network that was launched on September 1st, 2001. This FM Gold is only serving a limited geographical area in and around Delhi, but all in major cities we don't have this FM Gold. Okay, All India Radio at present has 479 uh, transmitters across the country. It is reaching 92% of the total geographical area and 99% of the total population the All India Radio covers. But again, it depends on how many members who are tuning into the All India Radio station. Okay, I think we have to stop here. We'll discuss the present status in brief tomorrow, not tomorrow, in the next class. And we'll move on to the next chapters. We have to complete. We have a lot of information to teach. Mm. Yes, ma'am, we can't hear you. Okay, ma'am, what happened? Chalo, just yes, you have any doubts? Just remember the various functions of mass media like information, education, entertainment, persuasion, watchdog of the society, political awareness, all this information. As part of the communication, also we have discussed the functions of communication, etc. And here under Unit 6 also you have, again based on the typology, based on the physical form and transmission technology involved, you have the three kinds of media like print, broadcast and new media. Under print you have again the magazines, newspapers and books. Under electronic media you have radio, television and films. Then under new media you have to mention all those social networking sites, about the browsers. You have to uh, mention about the e-newspapers, e-magazines, e-journals and e-papers, blogs, etc. How the social networking sites are also used for the purpose of communication, etc. Okay, those points you remember. And when it comes to the history of the broadcast media, again we might have that in some other sections also. Under your broadcast media, they will also have this history of broadcast media. There is, I will give you a channel name there. The All India Radio History and Doordarshan History is there. You can just go through those channels. Uh, you type my name. I'm giving here. Uh, There you will find there are two videos which are uploaded. Just you can run through the history of All India Radio and Doordarshan. Okay. Uh, Chalo, I'm leaving the session. If you have any queries, you have already created a group, I believe, the WhatsApp group. If you have any doubts, you can just share there. I will clarify your doubts. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
done. I'm leaving.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Bala. Bye, all of you.